Nikolai Dzhumagaliev was born in 1952 in Kazakh SSR. He grew up with three sisters. After high school, he joined the Kazakh SSR Army and served in the Armed Forces of Chemical Protection. After the Army, he traveled to various places around the Soviet Union and had a wide variety of professions. Eventually, in 1977, he moved back home and became a firefighter. Nikolai was considered by all who knew him as a well-spoken, clean-shaven gentleman. He was always neatly dressed but had one physical flaw that everybody who knew him would look past. He possessed white metal teeth, losing his natural teeth years before. This coined him the nickname Metal Fang. His gruesome cannibalistic murder spree began at the Uzun Agak Maybulak track. In his confession, he states his first murder in grotesque detail. I always loved to hunt, often went hunting, but this was my first time hunting a woman. When I went out to the Uzun Agak Maybulak track, I saw some young peasant woman. She was alone. I felt my heart pound within me, and I ran after her. Hearing my footsteps, she turned around, but I caught up with her and put my arm around her neck, dragged her to the side of the landfill. She resisted, and then I cut her throat with a knife. Then I drank her blood. At this point from the village appeared a bus factory. I laid down on the ground and crouched next to the murderer, while I was laying in my cold hands. When the bus drove, I warmed my hands in the woman's body and stripped her naked. I cut the corpse's breasts into strips, removed the ovaries, separated the pelvis and hips. Then I folded these pieces into a backpack and carried them home. I melted the fat to fry with, and some parts I pickled. Once I put the parts through the meat grinder and made dumplings. I saved the meat for myself. I never served it to anyone else. Twice I grilled with the heart and the kidneys. Grilled meat too, but it was tough, and cook it for a long time had its own fat. The meat of this woman took a month to eat. The first time I ate human flesh through the power and then used. After his murder, he would go on to kill 8 more women. As a well-dressed and handsome man, he would have no problem luring women to a remote location at which he would murder them. He would typically rape his victims and bludgeon them with an axe. He drank their blood and practiced necrophilia. Later on, when he was discovered, police realized that Nikolai was often inclined to throw parties with his friends where he would cook up large amounts of meat to be shared with his guests. These parties were always thrown right after one of his murders, and he was feeding his unwitting guests part of his recent kill. Nikolai was finally apprehended in 1980, where his friends saw a human head and intestines inside of his fridge. He immediately called the police, and he was arrested a day later at his cousin's house, where he fled to. In 1981, he was found not responsible for his murders due to his previous diagnosis of schizophrenia. Nikolai was committed to a mental institution in Tashkent. In mid-2000s, he remained in a psychiatric clinic. Doctors said he was cured and could be released, but Colonel Dubagian was unsure if Nikolai could be cured of cannibalistic instincts. His whereabouts today are unknown. Thanks for watching. I'm Dom from Criminal Profiles.